All right. You ready?
Sure.
Okay, cool. All right, Elizabeth, thank you for joining me today. Let's start off just with who are you and what do you do here at AU?
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I'm Elizabeth. My role here is the Disability Resource Director. So, I am responsible for supporting students with disabilities on accessing their college experience. So, that could be academics, housing, everything about being part of the campus community.
Yeah, awesome. All right, cool. Um, that sounds like a very uh what's the word I'm looking for? Like a very niche kind of job, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So is this what you set out to do? Is this what you thought you would be doing when you were younger or when you were in college?
Not even a little. I actually, when I was in, middle school, the dream was aerospace engineer.
Okay.
I strayed very far from that very
Yeah.
quickly. I knew after high school that I wanted to get into supporting people with disabilities, but I didn't know what opportunities there were. Everybody first thinks, special education teacher. So I spent 2.5 years going to school as a special education major, only to find out that I do not want to be a teacher. I do not want to be in a classroom. I didn't even make it to the classroom in school, and I changed my major a semester before graduating.
Okay. Very exciting. What was that like for you going through that kind of change moment?
It was terrifying, but also exciting because I got to kind of explore new things, right? So when
Sure.
I went into college, I was like, I'm going to be a special education teacher. That was the plan. And I'm a big planner. So to have my plan kind of completely turned upside down threw me for a huge loop. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I did a lot of, self reflecting, talking to the
Yeah.
advisors, talking to other people in the field, like, what else can I do? And I actually planned on going into higher education, but for supporting students with intellectual disabilities, which is an even more niche type of
Right.
field than what I do now. And so I immediately started researching, what does it take to be that? And I just continued to explore. And the whole process truly was like unexpected. I did not think that I was going to completely change my,
Right.
life path 2 years at 2.5 years into school. But because of how it all changed, it really worked out for the better, I think. But it was scary to go through, but it's good reflecting back on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot about that statistic that says that, right around half of college students change their major before they graduate. Right. And so it's your experience is way more common than people think,
Oh yeah.
I think, right? All right. So what are some of the opportunities that you took or some of the steps that you took to end up in this role now where you are? After you decided you're gonna make that change, how did you end up here doing this?
Yeah. So I actually, after deciding to change my career path in my bachelor's degree, I ended up looking into what does it take to be in this intellectual disability in higher ed? Like, what are the job descriptions? What are the requirements? And of course, everybody wanted a master's degree.
Sure.
So I immediately started exploring like what kind of master's degrees can I get. I ended up with a bachelor's degree in human and educational services, which is kind of the degree they gave to people who didn't want to be special education teachers anymore. So it takes even some explaining to
Yeah.
to get people to understand like what I have a bachelor's degree in. So I continued to explore the master's ideas, and then of course I was working on my master's, but I also started working immediately because you got to start working right after college, or at least you don't have to, but I definitely did.
Sure. Yeah.
I
Yeah. You
needed
have
to.
bills to pay, right?
Yep. So I ended up taking a position in an autism school as a
Okay.
paraprofessional. That was full time, but it was very, very, very low pay. But it was an opportunity to keep working with people, gaining different experience. I was in that position for about 9 months and then transitioned into figuring out what the next step was as I was wrapping up my master's program. And I started realizing that to get into higher education, they wanted someone who had worked in higher education.
Right.
So I had to figure out the balance of I'm trying to get an entry level job, but I haven't worked in higher ed before. So I actually pivoted and did a year of service with AmeriCorps.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it was. And the reason I chose that path is because they were offering an opportunity to work with multiple universities. So I wasn't actually working for a university. I was working for the county of DuPage to help unite a service program in the DuPage universities.
Interesting.
It was a lot of fun. I learned so much about managing projects and all that, but I got, the higher education experience without
Yeah.
being in higher education, which led me to, a position in disability services in higher ed, and now I'm working in a director role.
Right, right. So, okay, so super interesting what you were talking about. So for you, some of those opportunities you pursued, it wasn't necessarily the pay or the job title, or it was specific elements of that experience that you knew were going to set you up for later success in what
Absolutely.
you wanted to do, right? Did you say what your master's degree is in?
Disability studies.
Disability studies. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. So very relevant to
Yes.
what you do now. Yes. Okay, so that one matches up real
Yes.
closely. That's awesome. Um, what is something that you've learned about careers through your time and your kind of windy path that you've had that you think would be valuable for somebody who's still just at the start to know?
Yeah. Truly, I think it's that you can't plan for everything.
Sure.
Um, even in my transition, I was working in disability services before I came to AU to be in the director role here. I was still trying to pursue the intellectual disability positions, and I had been interviewing for them, and um, but this opportunity came up. It was more about the culture fit for me, the experience to work with people in a different environment. I came from a very large university. I was really excited to work with a more close-knit community. So it really turned out to be more about taking the opportunities that came up and not just trying to find the one perfect thing, because still have potentially a lot of opportunities that come up in my career. Even here at AU, we continue to have different opportunities that come up within my role, and that's what I love about not knowing. It gives me some flexibility and opportunities to continue to grow.
Yeah, yeah. So being open to those opportunities, even if they're not planned,
Oh yeah,
is key, right? What do you find rewarding about the work you do now?
what I find most rewarding is being able to help others understand how we can build a better community
Mm,
here at AU. I not even down to the nitty-gritty sometimes, but just having a conversation with a colleague even, about how we can support a student through something, or, these bigger pictures, like watching, colleagues bring up opportunities about, how we can improve our campus. That's what I find most rewarding, is that we're making an impact.
yeah, yeah. So that's interesting to hear you say that because it is a lot about, I think about this so much in my role where you spend so much time at work in your life, right? That doing something that you believe in or something that feels rewarding or something that feels like you're accomplishing something is often like way more important than all the other stuff,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, that's great. How has your definition of success changed over time? Or has it changed over time at all?
I think it really has, and I reflect about this a lot. In college, the success used to be, I'm gonna get that job. I'm gonna be a teacher. This is what I'm meant to do.
Right.
That quickly changed when I realized that's not what I wanted to do or what I was meant to do. And I think success has turned for me from this idea of trying to reach something specific and more about trying to find the things that make me feel fulfilled, that make
Sure.
me feel like I'm contributing. Um, because I had to get to kind of the root of what am I trying to accomplish in a career versus what job am I trying to get.
Right.
And that was pretty difficult for me, I think, at first to grasp. But it started turning into finding opportunities that met my personal goals versus just the job.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what we're talking about when we talk about career versus a job, right? It's
Mhm.
that kind of zoomed out picture of, what am I actually trying to accomplish with the time that I have,
Right.
versus just what's that next job gonna be. Okay, so this one is maybe a hard one, but what would you say to students who feel pressure from whether it be family or society or friends or whoever to pursue a certain kind of career path that they're not maybe 100% sure is a great fit for them?
That's a great question. I would probably encourage them to find something, even if it's not necessarily the career path that they want, find something within that that they enjoy. I give students similar advice when they're like, "I struggle with reading. I just can't get through my readings." And I'm like, "Well, find something that makes you curious. You don't necessarily have to like every topic to trick your brain sometimes
Right.
into enjoying something." Do I enjoy all of the tasks that I do in my job? Absolutely not. I don't think anyone would say that they enjoy every part of their job at all times. But there is something to say that we have such opportunities as people to be creative in how we think about things, that
Yeah.
sometimes reframing, you know, what you enjoy about something or trying to come at it from a different angle can create an opportunity that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, and that's super interesting what you're talking about where, like, even you like your job, you find it rewarding, but there are elements sometimes where, there are things you don't prefer doing. I think about that a lot too when we talk to students because I love my current job very much. But sometimes when I'm digging through emails or, things like that, it's not my favorite to be doing that. But um, as long as I think overall your job is doing what it's supposed to be doing for you,
Yeah.
right? Then it can be good. All right. If you had to go back in time and tell your early college self uh, something, what advice would you give yourself?
I would probably give myself the advice that you can plan all you want, but it may never work out the way that you expect it to.
Okay.
And that's just not with career, but with everything. And I'm the planner who sits down and I'm like, this is my 5-year plan. These are what my goals are going to look like. And without fail, something changes, something
Yeah.
happens, something comes up, new opportunities arise. Um, so I would encourage myself to continue planning, but plan with the intention that things can change and that you should be open to that change. The plan is there for to guide you, but it's not there to restrict you. It's not there to, force you down one path. Life is too messy for that.
Sure.
And I hope I would hope that the past self would understand that life will get too messy for that.
Yeah, yeah, it was great to have a plan, but it's also important to uh, keep in mind that that plan might need to change, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. What would you hope that students or listeners to this take away from your career story? If you had to kind of distill your whole story into like a sound bite, what would it be?
I would probably say that even if your plans do not come to fruition at the end, which mine didn't. They changed at the last minute and I was not ready for it. Have hope that something can still work out and work out for the best. I have had many fabulous experiences and made a lot of great relationships in the opportunities that have come up that I could never have planned for.
Yeah. Yeah, from aerospace engineer to now running a disability resource office at a university, very windy path.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's solid advice. Is there anything we're missing that we haven't covered yet?
I think I would also include that it's okay to take those part-time opportunities that come up as
Oh,
well,
yeah.
if it helps you go in a direction you're trying to go.
Yeah.
So I had actually left I didn't mention it, but between, the school that I worked at and starting the AmeriCorps program, I actually worked at a summer camp.
Okay.
Just because I knew it was something I enjoyed doing. I knew it was, within the field that I enjoyed working. So it wasn't necessarily the full-time job I was hoping for, but it was something to kind of refresh me and help me reset so that I could continue on to what the next best thing might be. And I don't regret taking that part-time opportunity at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I think something that stands out to me from your story is that experiences matter,
Mhm.
right? And it's not always if part of the plan necessarily, but every experience that you've talked about having, even ones where you realize, oh my gosh, maybe I don't want to be a teacher, that's still an experience that was valuable that had a part of shaping your story,
Absolutely.
right?
And then all those different experiences are really nice for interview.
Like exactly, yes. So you can use them in those behavioral interview questions that people love to ask. Yeah, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much again for the conversation. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's it. That's it. Good. You survived.